An old man's story about a lifetime of planting trees, even though he knew he wouldn't see them fully grown, teaches a valuable lesson about creating a positive legacy for future generations. When confronted by young men who mock his efforts, he patiently explains that his reward comes from the act of planting itself, knowing that others will benefit from his hard work and that the trees will provide fruit for his grandchildren. The moral is that a person's true legacy isn't what they gain for themselves, but what they create for others, and that an investment in the future is a reward in itself. You can watch this video to learn about the story of an old man who hid his money. The story of the old man and the fruit trees. In a small village nestled beside a sun-drenched river, lived an old man named Ilara. Ilara's hands, gnarled and weathered, were as busy as ever, even though his hair was the color of a winter sky. Every morning, he would walk to a barren patch of land he owned, his old sack filled with saplings and seeds. He would spend the day digging, planting, and watering, his back bent, his movements slow but sure. The younger villagers, full of energy and life, often watched him with a mixture of amusement and pity. One day, a group of them stopped by his field. They saw him meticulously planting a row of young fig trees, his face set in concentration. "Old man," one of them called out, "why do you labor so? You are too old to enjoy the fruit of these trees. By the time they are ready to bear, you will be long gone." Ilara paused, wiping the sweat from his brow with the back of his hand. He smiled, not with sadness, but with a deep sense of purpose. "You are right, young man," he said, his voice raspy but warm. "I will likely not eat the fruit of these trees." The young man scoffed. "Then why do you work so hard? It is a waste of your time." Ilara turned and looked the young man straight in the eye. "I plant these trees for my grandchildren," he said, "and for their children after them. I plant them so that one day a young boy like you can come to this very spot and enjoy a sweet, juicy fig without having to work so hard to grow it." He then turned back to his work, his hands resuming their task of patting the soil around a sapling. "I plant them for the joy of watching something grow and provide for others," he continued, his voice now a murmur to the wind. "The happiness I get from planting is the reward for me, and the fruit that will one day be here is the reward for them." The young men stood in silence for a moment, the weight of his words sinking in. They had come to mock him, but instead they had found a profound lesson. They saw not a foolish old man, but a wise one, who understood that a life's purpose is not measured by what one takes, but by what one gives. They left the field that day with a new perspective, the image of Ilara's determined smile imprinted on their minds. From then on, they would stop by to help him, and eventually the barren patch of land began to flourish, filled with the promise of life. The moral of the story: true happiness comes not from what you can get for yourself, but from the good you can create for others. A life well lived is not about the rewards you receive, but the legacy you leave behind. This video explains a story about a wise old man and how he teaches a young boy.